Happy to talk about joint practice and obviously the game. Felt like in joint practice, both in joint practice and the game, guys overall played solid. There's some things that we need to clean up, especially, from a technique standpoint and kickoff return. We didn't get a kickoff return opportunity in the game until the second half. And making some substitutions and things at that point would have liked to seen a better opportunity to get the ball out past the 40-yard line. But coverage unit wise, both in joint practice and the game, felt guys, certainly cleaned some things up, played more under control, did a much better job of tackling throughout the game. We were able to get 47 different players in the game this time. Didn't quite get everybody in the game or as many guys in the game as we did in week one due to some limited reps and opportunities. We're certainly going to work to sub in and give everybody an opportunity in this last game and probably play a little bit less of some of our top special teams guys, similar to what offense and defense will do. Kicking wise, I thought Spencer Schrader continues to improve. We had an operational issue on his first field goal in the joint practice where we had a bad snap. Certainly, he gets to benefit from having a veteran long snapper and holder where that doesn't happen very often. And he brought his eyes up and lost focus off of a bad snap being in the ground. And he can learn from that. But outside of that rep, he looked really good in joint practice. Thought he looked really good in the pregame. That's 2 games in a row. I think he's been comfortable, confident, handled the game well. Obviously, he has experience kicking in games last year and kicking under pressure in games last year on a somewhat limited basis. But it's a little bit of a luxury through 2 preseason games to have our kicker get 8 kicks in a game. He's been 7 for 8, continues to look good, hit the ball clean. I'm really happy with where everything's at and how he's progressing. This week, we plan to start Schrader, allow him to go through pregame, continue to work his mental aspect of the game, get everything started. And then we will roll in Maddox and give Maddox a chance to be able to show what he can do. I think Maddox is starting to kick better. He's been hot the last 2 weeks. He's overall up to now kicking 80% for camp. Maybe started off a little bit slower being a rookie in fall camp, but has really settled in. He's a talented young kicker. Kind of like what we've done the last 2 years, where the first year we gave Lucas Haversick a chance to be able to show what he could do in the last preseason game. Last year we gave Spencer Schrader a chance to be able to show what he could do in the last preseason game. We're going to give Maddox Trujillo a chance to be able to show everybody what he can do in this last preseason game. We always want to try to bring in a talented young kicker in training camp so we can constantly have, somebody ready to go, an emergency name if something were to happen. Usually the specialist position that ends up having traditionally a little bit more of an injury risk would be kicker and issues with, over kicking and things. So it's always nice to be able to have a talented young kicker in here that you can have ready to go in an emergency or be able to bring in. And certainly we had Maddox here to compete, and we'll give him a chance to show what he can do kind of in a live setting this week. Open for any questions.
Joel?
What have you seen out of Anthony in the return game in the preseason so far?
Thought he did a really good job setting things up. He was aggressive to set up a punt return in the first game. The second game, he did not, I don't think, play to quite the standard that he, has. We didn't get a kickoff return opportunity. He didn't get a kickoff return opportunity in this game, being that he's the primary kickoff returner in the first half. We didn't get an opportunity there. But punt return wise, he did not track the ball as well as he could have on that first punt return. He ended up slipping and falling, which then led to him slightly muffing the return. That's something certainly we can get cleaned up. And there was one ball that he allowed to hit at the 8-yard line that we think he should have caught. But as a whole, I think he's had a really clean training camp, both in practice, joint practice, and games. And we expect some really, really good things from him at returner.
Kevin?
You mentioned the lack of kick returns, Brian. And do you view Anthony as kind of the guy back there, or do you still expect to rotate in a lot of guys?
Right now, I would expect that Gould and Doolin would be the 2 returners that we will have back there, which is very similar to what we did last year. I think that both are really talented returners. Obviously, Ashton Doolin is one of the best special teams players all around in the NFL. But in this model, he's really good at making good decisions. He can set up blocks if he doesn't have the ball in his hand. And we saw last year, Doolin was able to generate some explosive returns and make something out of nothing. So I think he's really dangerous back there as well.
JJ?
Hey, Brian, Spencer's last 2 kicks, he was able to get a bounce on them. Was that something he was just working on? And is that an intentional thing to try to get a little bit of an advantage on coverage?
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of teams certainly experiment with different kicks. Certainly, if you can get the ball on the ground, you can start covering as a kickoff team once the ball either hits the ground in the landing zone or is caught. So if it hits the ground and is not in the hands of the returner, that gives your kickoff team a little bit of an advantage. We weren't necessarily trying to hit any trick kicks in this game. Those balls that did end up hitting the ground, it's not like they hit the ground at the 18-yard line. One of them hit the ground, I think, at the 12, and one of them at the 8. We were really just looking for some lower kicks that the returner would catch, and not be easy for them to just set up underneath to catch. And they allowed the ball to hit the ground. I think, probably we would have wanted to have a little bit more sense of urgency at returner to catch those balls. So it wasn't like we were trying to hit a design trick kick or anything in those situations. We were just trying to hit a lower hang time kick in those different regions.
And then we'll take our last one from James.
Brian, I wish I could phrase this better, but what makes Ashton Dulin a football player? Meaning, like, why do you think he's able to thrive, whether it's a receiver, gunner, return man, just whatever's thrown at him, he's able to really kind of make an impact?
He's certainly a unique player in a variety of different ways. Number one, he's obviously has incredible athletic skill. He's very strong. So when you look at him at wide receiver, he's a great blocker. He's got great play strength, especially for a wide receiver. He's bigger than most, traditional wide receivers are, both from a height, weight, and strength standpoint. Has great burst and acceleration. He's a guy who has, multi-sport guy who's played other positions and things. He's a small college guy that's done a little bit of everything. So he kind of had to work his way up and kind of have experience in doing a variety of different things, and naturally has the ability to tackle, has the ability to do some other things that maybe some offensive guys don't have that experience doing. And he's just somebody that works really hard at it, studies the game. He's now a veteran that kind of knows what it takes to be successful, and just really has a knack and great instincts for finding the ball and making plays.